right, what's going on, everybody? We are here post UFC Fight Night Cannonier versus Rodriguez. But we are going to combine the results of UFC 312 into this fight night as well in terms of talking about who's next for who. Because there were some implications with both of these nights together that I felt that they should have just been put together. And especially because there wasn't that much hype around 312. So we'll talk about the fights. Not much detail. There really isn't a lot there. But we'll talk about the results a little bit, and then we'll talk about matchups. Just keep this nice, brief, short. Gonna try. No promises, though. DDP and Strickland, it wasn't great, right? But DDP didn't have the partner to make it great, right? Strickland, just, the style is just not working for him. People are figuring it out, I think for DDP, though, I think his next fight is against Khamzat Chimaev. The money is there. If it's not Khamzat, if he's not ready, then Imavov will get the shot. I don't care. I want to see either one fight DDP. I think it'll be a great fight. I think DDP will struggle against Khamzat a bit, but I think DDP is just that good that I think he might be able to take Khamzat's O. So we'll see what happens there. Strickland, this is a tough one. He's now on a 2-5. He just lost to DDP. He had a split decision win against Costa. Before that, lost to DDP, and then he beat Izzy. Right? Izzy is his best win yet. Understandably so. For Sean, though, he is on that losing streak. I'd like to see him. He's number 2 now. I'd like to see him face Robert Whittaker, who's on a losing streak. And if it's not Rob, then I'd like to see Strickland maybe a rematch with Jared Cannonier. I wouldn't hate that fight. Jay Cannonier did get the win. Cannonier has a win over Strickland. It could be a good win to kind of get Cannonier up there in the middleweight title picture, but we'll see what happens. I think the fights coming in Seattle as well will have a part to play, especially with the Brendan Allen, Anthony Hernandez fight. I think the winner there could also fight Cannonier or Strickland, and we'll just kind of see what happens. And if Strickland decides to hang it up, then he hangs it up, and then there's no fights for him. Zhang Weili and Tatiana Suarez. I think Weili looked incredible. There's a reason why she's arguably the greatest or second greatest women's fighter alive right now. I definitely think Weili is going to fight Shevchenko next. I mean, if you look at her division, she's not cleaned it out entirely, but she's starting to clean it pretty easily. Virna Jandiroba is probably the next fight for her. But are you going to really run it back with Yan Xiaonan? Maybe. But tough to say, right? I think Yan Xiaonan, and just to kind of talk about Xiaonan and Suarez, I think they should fight. I think that's the next fight for both of them. I think Weili should go and try her chances against Shevchenko. But Shevchenko's got a division. She's got Manon Fiorot ready to go. Maybe Macy Barber. But Shevchenko has a clear number 1 contender in her division. We'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens. And then Suarez, like I said, Yan Xiaonan. Talashin Teixeira, I actually think, what's his face? Walter Walker and Talashin Teixeira would actually be a banger of a fight. Both guys just had wins. They're both at heavyweight. I think Talashin Teixeira is knocking on the door of the top 15, so give him that 15-ranked opponent. Or if you really want to go crazy, you give Talashin Teixeira and Derek Lewis or Tai Tuivasa together. You've got a really good fight. For Tafa, I don't know. I think Tafa should start contemplating retirement. Maybe. If you look at the heavyweight rankings, like, he's not going to fight a top 15 opponent. You could put him in there with Don'Tale Mayes. Maybe. You could bring back Parker Porter. I'd like to see that. So, yeah. Jimmy Crute, Rodolfo Bellato, run it back, throw it up soon. Let's get it. Jake Matthews, welterweight. I'd actually like to see him and Gilbert Burns maybe go at it. I think Jake Matthews, Gilbert Burns would be a banger of a fight, and I'd like to see it. Obviously, UFC has a card coming up in Miami. If Matthews is ready, I think Gilbert Burns has a fight on the card. If he doesn't, that's the fight to make. And we're just going to kind of burn through these really quick. Alexandre Topuria, I'd actually like to see him get a top 15 opponent right off the bat. I think he deserves it. Yes, he has the family name because of his brother. But if you look at the bantamweight rankings, right, you could put him in there with an Amin Zahabi. You could put him in... Dude, Alexandre Topuria and Jose Aldo would be a banger of a fight. I think that's a great fight for Alexandre Topuria. Yeah, that's what I would have. I have it up here. Topuria and Aldo, that's the fight to make. Colby, there's no shame on him or anything like that. Especially at bantamweight, it's a little tricky. I think he should fight someone definitely unranked. I don't have the full roster for him up right now, but yeah, I definitely think Colby should get that. Maybe someone in the top 20, but Topuria should get someone in the top 15, like an Aldo. It'd be a great fight. And then looking at Fight Night, Cannonier we just kind of spoke about. If it's not Sean Strickland, problem with Cannonier is he's in a weird position where he's beaten most of the guys. He's lost to most of the guys in the top 5. He's lost to 4. I think it's 4 out of 8 top 10 fighters, which, doesn't bode really well. I think, honestly, Jared Cannonier should wait and fight the winner of Brendan Allen and Anthony Hernandez. I think that's a great opportunity for him. And if he gets another win, then rematch someone like, maybe Cannonier and Strickland go at it. Who knows? Depends on what Strickland wants to do. But maybe you put Cannonier and someone with, like, maybe a Paulo Costa. I actually wouldn't mind Jared Cannonier and Paulo Costa. I think that would be a firework fight. Cannonier will throw. Costa will throw. I think you get some fireworks there. Gregory Rodriguez, there's no shame for what had happened. I think it's unfortunate he lost, but it's like someone has to lose in one of these fights. I think you could still pair him up with someone in the top 15. I see no reason why not. And I think you could put him in there with someone like a Michel Pereira. And like you'll get a really, really good fight out of that. Yusuf Zalal is now going to be the number 10 featherweight, which is cool. Good for him. Tough to look at. I mean, you look at the top 10, he's going to take Calvin Kattar's spot. He's going to want to fight up in the rankings. Maybe an Arnold Allen. Maybe. Or a Giga Chikadze. I wouldn't mind either or even Aljamain Sterling. There's options, right? He is from Morocco, so I don't know how him and I have Calvin Kattar's next fight ready. Yusuf Zalal and Aljamain, maybe. Don't hate that. For Calvin Kattar, I think he should fight Dennis Bajukia. I think Calvin is going to be number 11, or he might even fall off the list. So we'll see what happens here with Calvin Kattar. He's on like a 3-fight losing streak or something like that. He's got to answer some questions. Edmund Shabazian, I think he should fight the loser of Anthony Hernandez and Brendan Allen. I think that fight really does have a lot of implications for Edmund and Cannonier and I definitely think you have some options there. You can even put him up against Gregory Rodriguez and see what happens there, and the winner gets a top 15 opponent. I wouldn't hate that. Nazim Sadikov, hear me out on this. I actually would like to see him rematch with Ismail Bonfim, and if not Ismail, then I'd like to see him fight the loser of Benoit Saint-Denis' fight. I actually think Nazim and Benoit would be a really, really good fight. Just to kind of see what happens. I think it's time for Nazim to get a top 15 opponent and just kind of test the waters, see how he does at that upper echelon of lightweights. Angela Hill, and we'll do a ranking matchup for her. I think it was a split decision. I think she can fight up in the rankings. Strawweight division is really not the most competitive division right now. I mean, I think Zhang Weili just absolutely blows everyone out of the water in her division. But Angela Hill can fight someone like looking at these rankings, you could do Tabitha Ricci. I wouldn't hate that, or Mahina Rodriguez. Either or would be fine. For Gabriel Bonfim, I actually want to see him fight. Gabriel Bonfim should probably fight. It should be a top 15 opponent. But then you look at the rankings at welterweight. MVP, no, he's gonna fight someone higher ranked than him because of his win. Carlos Prates, I don't hate it. Or Vicente Luque, either or. I think that'd be a great fight for Gabriel Bonfim. But we're gonna leave it at that. And then Walter Walker, we've already talked. He could fight like a Derek Lewis or a Tai Tuivasa. No harm there, is what it is. And we'll just kind of go from there. Jacqueline Cavalcanti is going to be the number 12 women's bantamweight. You look at women's bantamweight, which is also like wide open. Misha Tate and Giannis Santos just got announced, so that's good. Carol Rosa, maybe, or Chelsea Chandler. So, there we go. But we are on to UFC Seattle, so I will see you guys for the reactions to that. We'll also do the YouTube videos of UFC 5, the predictions, all that good stuff. We're back. I got a new computer. We're ready to go. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.